The internal divisions within the Labour Party have been laid bare after Coventry South MP Zara Sultana and the Mayor of London launched scathing criticism against Prime Minister Keir Starmer and his associates, accusing him of an unforgivable betrayal over the Heathrow Airport expansion plans.
Well, here's a newsflash. It's not for the Labour government to bring forward plans for a third runway at Heathrow. It's for Heathrow to bring forward a plan. So let's wait and see the plans that Heathrow bring forward in relation to a third runway. The last plans they had would have meant building over the busiest motorway in the country, the M25, a tunnel underneath the M25, rerouting the A4, increasing the capacity of the Elizabeth line, the Piccadilly line, Southern Rail, bulldozing a village. Let's wait and see what Heathrow come up with. But the basic premise of your question is the right one. I will, as the mayor of this great city, as a pro-business mayor, somebody who takes tackling the climate emergency seriously, but also thinks a green transition is one of the greatest opportunities we have this century, I'll use any tool in the toolkit to stop a third runway happening.
The policy shift has sent shockwaves through Labour's ranks, with key figures such as Energy Secretary Ed Miliband and London Mayor Sadiq Khan openly clashing with Starmer's leadership. Khan, a vocal opponent of the expansion, has vowed to fight the plans, warning of severe environmental and public health consequences. This expansion will worsen air quality, increase noise pollution, and jeopardize London's ability to reach net zero by 2030, Khan said, pledging to use any tool in the toolkit to block the project. The highly intense intervention from key political figures in the UK comes amid growing divisions within the Labour Party following Prime Minister Rachel Reeves' announcement that the long-stalled expansion project will proceed, with the runway expected to be completed by 2035.
Finally, I come to the decision that perhaps more than any other has been delayed, has been avoided, has been ducked. The question of whether to give Heathrow, our only hub airport, a third runway has run on for decades. The last full-length runway in Britain was built in the 1940s. No progress in 80 years. Why is this so damaging? It's because Heathrow is at the heart of the UK's openness as a country. It connects us to emerging markets all over the world, opening up new opportunities for growth. Around 3/4 of all long-haul flights in the UK go from Heathrow. Over 60% of UK air freight comes through Heathrow. And about 15 million business travellers used Heathrow in 2023. But for decades, its growth has been constrained. Successive studies have shown that this really matters for our economy. According to the most recent study from Frontier Economics, a third runway could increase potential GDP by 0.43% by 2050. Over half, 60% of that boost, would go to areas outside of London and the southeast, increasing trade opportunities for products like Scotch whisky and Scottish salmon, already two of the biggest British exports out of Heathrow. And a third runway could create over 100,000 jobs. For international investors, persistent delays have cast doubt about our seriousness towards improving our economic prospects. Business groups like the CBI, the Federation of Small Businesses, and the Chambers of Commerce right across the UK, as well as trade unions like GMB and Unite, are clear. A third runway is badly needed. In 2018, the previous government steered its airport's national policy statement through Parliament. But no action was taken. It simply sat on the shelf. We are taking a totally different approach to airport expansion. This government has already given its support to expansion at City Airport and at Stansted. And there are 2 live decisions on Luton and Gatwick which will be made by the Transport Secretary shortly. But as our only hub airport, Heathrow is in a unique position. and we cannot duck the decision any longer. I have always been clear that a third runway at Heathrow would unlock further growth, boost investment, increase exports, and make the UK more open and more connected. And now,
Despite the backlash, Reeves defended the decision, dismissing environmental concerns and insisting that economic growth and sustainability can coexist. I have huge respect for Sadiq, but on this I know that sustainable aviation and economic growth can and do go hand in hand, the Chancellor said. The way that we fly has changed hugely in recent years. Engines are more efficient, carbon emissions are reducing, and sustainable aviation fuel is changing the way we fly. Asked whether Miliband, who previously opposed Heathrow's expansion, was now fully behind the plans, Reeves offered a firm response. Yes, we are all united as a cabinet backing these plans. We know that we have to grow our economy. We can't keep saying no to big infrastructure projects. The government argues that expanding Heathrow will create 100,000 jobs and provide a crucial boost to the UK's economy. But environmental groups have condemned the move as a betrayal of Labour's climate pledges. Alethea Warrington, head of aviation at climate charity Possible, warned, approving airport expansions would be a catastrophic misstep for a government which claims to be a climate leader. This huge increase in emissions won't help our economy. It will only benefit the small group of frequent flyers who take most of the flights, further worsening the UK's huge tourism deficit. As Labour's internal rift deepens, Starmer faces a mounting rebellion from green-minded MIMPs and activists who fear the move undermines the party's credibility on climate action, with Khan vowing to fight the expansion and grassroots opposition gaining momentum. Heathrow's third runway is fast becoming a defining battleground for Starmer's leadership.
Finally, it emerged this morning in the Londoner that LS Events, the company that gave you tickets to watch Taylor Swift last year, have benefited from almost £45 million in GLA contracts. Does that not raise any conflict of interest to your mind?
Well, the Conservatives have made various complaints to the monitoring officer about me. I think three courts have been kicked out at the first instance as not even being worthy of investigation. I think there's an investigation being undertaken. I'm quite clear in relation to somebody who follows the rules, makes declarations, but also somebody who's unashamedly pro-London. I will not hesitate in banging the drum for our city. I'm not in charge of procurement decisions for obvious reasons, and it's really important those that are in charge of procurement decisions follow the rules as well.
More generally, my last question, the charity spotlight on corruption in that article has said, the scale of the largesse provided to the Mayor and City Hall staff and wider culture of accepting hospitality and gifts raises serious questions about what is expected in return. Why not simply impose a presumption against accepting gifts and hospitality unless there's a clear public interest to do so?
These are the same rules that applied under the previous two mayors, so I'll carry on following the rules.
London's City Hall is facing intense scrutiny over potential conflicts of interest and an entrenched culture of gift acceptance among its staff, following revelations about substantial contracts awarded to LS Events. The event management company, which recently sold tickets for Taylor Swift's highly anticipated concerts, has secured nearly £45 million in contracts from the Greater London Authority, GLA, sparking concerns about transparency and fairness in public procurement. Amid ongoing investigations, questions are being raised about the extent to which LS Events' financial ties with City Hall officials have influenced its lucrative government contracts. With reports emerging that some staff may have accepted gifts and hospitality from the company, critics argue that the relationship between LS Events and City Hall requires urgent scrutiny to safeguard public trust. LS Events has positioned itself as a dominant force in London's events sector, managing major citywide celebrations such as New Year's Eve, fireworks, Pride in London, and other high-profile public festivities. However, the scale of its earnings from GLA contracts, amounting to nearly £45 million, has drawn sharp criticism from watchdog groups and opposition politicians alike. Despite efforts to maintain transparency in the procurement process, details surrounding the selection of Els events have prompted accusations that City Hall officials have been too cozy with the company. With the recent Taylor Swift ticketing deal bringing further attention to Els events operations, calls for an independent audit of its public contracts are gaining momentum. The allegations have triggered calls for an independent investigation into City Hall's contracting processes. The London Assembly is expected to push for greater disclosure of hospitality records, with demands for a full list of gifts and perks received by staff involved in awarding contracts to LS events. While City Hall has not yet formally responded to the allegations, insiders suggest that an internal review may be launched to assess the integrity of procurement practices. Mayor Sadiq Khan's administration is now under pressure to reassure the public that government contracts are awarded solely on merit and free from any undue influence. As scrutiny intensifies, all eyes will be on whether City Hall takes decisive action to address the concerns raised. A failure to enforce stricter ethical standards could deepen distrust in London's governance, particularly at a time when transparency in public spending is more crucial than ever. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more updates. Join our Telegram community for exclusive discussions and news.